Can I see myself? All right. He's fetching the stream now. That one's up. Okay.
Can I turn it? No.
You're going to be a few seconds behind.
Oh.
So when you turn your head. All right. This is the show. 103.5 FM, WNHH, NewHavenIndependent.org. I've been missing in action only because I haven't had the liberty of having any guests. So Harry has been gracious enough to run some past shows, which in a way is cool because then you can get to hear people you might know or other things that you didn't catch before. But at least for the next few weeks, we're going to be on Facebook Live. We will be back here Wednesday and we will be in it. So this is the show. My name is Michelle Turner. And of course, I have the luxury of being your host. In the studio with me today is Squad. Gotta say that first. All right. Squad. And then next to that, she is a former house manager of Long Wharf Theater and community relations manager at the Schubert. Her name is Ife Michelle Gardine.
The Schubert and the Arts Council.
And the Arts Council, she sits on the Arts Council now, correct?
No?
No?
No.
You just,
No.
you're what? You don't
Just
sit
a
on,
member.
you're just a member of the Arts
Member of the
Council.
Arts Council.
Okay.
I
But
was on their board years ago.
on their board years ago. Okay, see, I knew it was somewhere in there. Knew it was somewhere in there. But Ife Michelle Gardine is a well-respected person of the arts and letters here in our town. And so it is a pleasure to have my squatty and longtime friend on the airways with me once again. She's starting a new project. She and Alita.
Satan.
And it's just she and Alita.
Me.
Really? Are
Me.
starting something called.
Okay, it's going to be called the Phoenix Diaspora Arts Collective.
Thank
for
you.
Black and brown artists to come out, to be exposed, to showcase their art.
Get closer to the mic.
To come out, that's okay. How's this?
Yes, that's good.
Do I need to repeat it?
Yes, please.
Okay. So next month, first meeting will be September 19th. I'll be starting the Phoenix Diaspora Artists Collective for Black and brown artists, artists of color in the greater New Haven area. Need some exposure. I feel like there's a great arts movement. Some young people are doing some fabulous things. Many young people are doing fabulous things. I found that after being away from New Haven for a while,
how long were you away from New Haven?
6 years.
Okay. Living in Brooklyn.
Living in Brooklyn and like moving and grooving on the Brooklyn and the Harlem art scene and just seeing a real cohesiveness with artists and people working together and sharing resources, sharing spaces, sharing events and time in every manner of arts. And moving back here, I wanted to get that rhythm here. And there is I feel like there's so much talent out there, but like I said, everybody's fragmented. So history is, a little bit of my history is growing up here, exposed to the arts through Bowen Peters. Angela Bowen Peters, you didn't just go to dance school, you went to see Alvin Ailey. She encouraged people to take classes other places. She did cultural trips. I was also in the Girls Friendly organization out of St. Luke's Church, Mrs. Carnegie, who exposed us to a lot of global things. And we did several trips there. And in my family, we went to New York for shows and stuff. But I've always been a lover and passionate about arts of all kinds and art things. So there was an organization years ago, I think in the 80s, 90s, called City Spirit Artists.
Turn that toward you.
This right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it?
City
Push it up.
Okay,
Push
this.
and pull it back. Yeah.
Okay.
Pull it in.
How about now?
That's better, but yeah, like
Okay,
that.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the early, I think in the early 80s, mid 80s, there was an organization called City Spirit Artists.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother, Hattie Turner, was on their board, and she also invited me to had me on their board,
On the board.
and helping them out. And that was an organization that placed artists in community spaces and after school programs and in schools. City Spirit Arts didn't really last long. And then there was I did some work with them. I was a writer. That's my thing. I was writing. I was inspired by Zora Neale Hurston and Langston Hughes and the Harlem Renaissance writers. So I was always writing, doing stuff like that. So anyway, from City Spirit Artists is when I got introduced to the Arts Council, Bitsy Clark, and served on their board for a minute. And then I also worked for them. I pretty much worked for every arts organization in the city. Before the Schubert became
COPA,
the national organization that it is.
Yeah.
I was the community relations person for them. I was able to organize a very, very moving and dignified commemoration send off for Paul Hall when he passed, because Paul Hall was a great dancer in New Haven, and he was one of the first native New Haven African American dancers to have a show on that stage. So we did a beautiful tribute to him in the lobby on his passing. Then I also coordinated the Dwight Edgewood project for the Yale Repertory Theater. While I was at the Arts Council, I did community relations at Long Wharf.
But you also took a group to the National Black Theater.
That's what I was going to get to. While I was at Long Wharf, I was the stage man. It was house manager rather, and so I had the keys to the stages. So when we weren't when there wasn't a performance on either stage or in the rehearsal halls, I did a series called Jazz on the Wharf. Which somewhat got continued after I left with Jazz Haven. But I had after the shows or when there's nothing else happening in the small stage in the rehearsal halls, I had artists come up, said jazz artists come up, and we had jazz. Alita and I in B. Taylor, I think it was in 2003, we did a festival that was called the Ife Tayo Festival. Ife means love of arts and culture and love of creativity. So we did an Ife Tayo Festival in Bowen Field.
Wow.
Which also pulled a lot of artists together. So it's been an arts evolution for me. So while I was back to when I was at Long Wharf, the last year that I was there in the summertime, I got a grant and I did a program called Arts at Work. I wanted some kids to learn about the production of working in the arts, like the stage people, the people that build the sets and make the costumes and do the lights and do the sound. All those people work on a regular basis. They don't usually have to audition. They have unions. Like the actors. Yes, you got to make the actors have to look good. And who has to make the actors look good? The background people. Even when you go to a concert, when you go to a concert, they need the lights and the sound.
Right.
Everything got to be in check. Props, if they need them, everything has to be in a place. So I did that program at Long Wharf and at, we built the set. Whoo, boy. and we performed it at the Afro-American Cultural Center at Yale for a weekend, and then we packed the show up and we took it to the National Black Theater Conference in Winston-Salem. Now, the show that we did, I worked with, I had the teachers that we had were grad students in the Yale Drama School.
Okay.
The writer of the play, the play was called Like Sun Falling from the Mount, and now this really world-renowned playwright, Marcus Gartley.
Oh, who I love his work. Yes.
He is now blowing it up all over New York and all over the world with his shows, but he was the writer. He was the writer then. He taught, and some of his fellow other students that were at the grad school, and I was really grateful for that. And then when we packed up that show, it was like 20 kids and 11 instructors and about 5 chaperones, and we drove to Winston-Salem. Then we had the whole week of the festival. The Black Theater Festival in Winston-Salem is every even year.
Mm-hmm.
And so they alternate with the Black Arts Festival in Atlanta. And so what happens is everybody that works in theater, Black people and people of color in theater all over the country, and sometimes in other Caribbean and other parts of the world, come and you see plays. You have workshops about playwriting, sound, set. You get to meet producers, directors, theater professionals all over. It's a beautiful event. So all week you see plays, you do all the workshops, and then at night, of course, people meet and greet and have fun. They even have play readings, like staged readings or just impromptu readings. Somebody's walking around with their play, like grabbing actors and telling people, "Oh, I'm in suite 305 in this hotel. Come through. We're gonna do this play reading." They do it in the lobby of the thing. It was so much fun. So I took a bunch of kids down, and they really were appreciative of the value of what they did. And then we performed our play on the last evening, which was a Saturday. But the thing is, we had to put it up in a hotel,
right?
In one of those like event spaces in the hotel, banquet hall or something. Did the play, and we had to take it right back down because another play was right behind us.
Right.
But the experience of it was wonderful. I wasn't able to continue that program, and hope to do that sometime in the future. So anyway, with all of that happening, and then that's my evolution in the arts, and my passion is for the arts. So I come back to New Haven in February, March, and I attend all these things, like, because my daughter's friends are doing things, and a lot of young people I know, and I'm like, I see everybody doing their thing over here, singing, performance, people drawing. I mean, art, and in the meantime, we still have our arts. I was for the Arts and Ideas Festival, I was an ambassador. Because I also worked for Arts and Ideas in the first years of Arts and Ideas.
I remember we had all kinds of buttons.
Oh my gosh! We
had all kinds of buttons all over our clothes and our pocketbooks.
It was in the first years of the Arts and Ideas Festival.
Yes,
I did like two or 3 years. I coordinated some stuff for them. So it's a lot that is offered here, but when I see the African American artists and the Black and brown artists, even Hispanic, everybody's sort of like doing their thing.
So when you say fragmented, what do you mean? They're not operating under one banner?
One thing. Well, everybody doesn't have a showcase all of their own. Like we have Citywide Open Studios, which is a wonderful event. I love to go, but there's a lot of Black artists mixed in that show. So what I'm saying, and there are exhibits and galleries all over New Haven. And once in a, they space them out.
Open
they
house,
have some Black and brown artists. And they, because I just read recently, read maybe this week that Art Space African American woman is curating a show there.
Mm-hmm.
So she's looking for artists. I want to create a space where just Black and brown artists show, where they perform, where the showcase. I also want to have it be like a directory, if you will, for people who have events. Like there's so many social agencies or say for instance, your sororities and fraternities, NAACP, whoever, these people that West Haven Black Coalition, everybody has a fundraiser or some kind of a dinner annually, something, churches, all that kind of thing. And you need space to fill the void. Not the voids, but there's a lot of talking going on. And it would be nice to have some performance, some dance. And usually it is somebody's on the committee's niece or daughter or this and that. And Whereas I want to have a space where somebody's saying, well, we're having this fundraiser dinner, we're having this A, B, C, or D, and we want to have some artists perform. You will also, and there's also space for you don't have to, where you won't have to like look around for who's selling what. Like these earrings I have on were made by this young lady, Chloe, that works at Yale, and she just does it on the side. Like,
well, why? Not to cut you off, but why do you think it is that in an environment like New Haven, where there is culture, where there are arts, that there has been no collective, if you will, for people of color?
Okay. I think that there's people don't feel that, and especially Black and brown people. Like Black people, they go to work. Like, so if you say, I'm going to live as an artist, or if somebody draws really well or paints really well or dances or does something, they don't think of it as a business. Right? Or what I sometimes tell people that are very talented is that because you run into people I do this, but I gotta work and I gotta do this, because you're listening to the other voices in the head that are not artists. People appreciate your art, but if you sew or if you create things, if you make things like this right here, like the young lady, she I just make them for people. I was like, girl, you know what? You need to be getting a booth someplace. Or feel like they don't feel like their stuff is marketable. Or they're not confident, because part of what is going to be happening with the collective is what my goal is with the collective is supporting each other within the arts, supporting your creativity, acknowledging that you are an artist if you're ready to do that, and taking it to another level.
But how do you get people to realize that they can make money from their art? It may take a little bit longer than, say, having your typical job, but how do you get people to embrace the fact that their art is worth something and it is deserving, if that is what they desire, to get paid for it?
It's entrepreneurial building. It's like if you are an entrepreneur, when people take a leap of faith when they want to start a business, it's starting a business and believing in yourself. Everybody's not going to be convinced. And then you have responsibilities, you have family, you have this, you have voices in your head keeping you from doing something. I hope to be encouraging and supportive and keep it moving, and have consistency. And like I said, there are groups of artists, young people and mature people that are doing their thing. I love Shonda Sakai Holloway, for example. Shonda makes beautiful everything. Like she decorated stuff. She decorated some old clothes I had, made them new. She repurposed and redesigned something. But she does beautiful paintings and also makes jewelry. People are, and she was working, but she was also pushing herself as an artist. And you have to be ready to be at the next level. You know, like I said, everybody's not going to be, and you got to take the leap of faith.
You're listening to the show on WNHHLP 103.5 FM. We're broadcasting live from downtown New Haven, in case you don't know that. We're streaming live on TuneIn Radio and NewHavenIndependent.org. We're also streaming live video on Facebook Live, like right now. So go to Facebook Live, WNHH, or all you can do to go to facebook.com, New Haven Independent. Or, last but not least, but certainly most important, go to your Facebook page and just look up WNHH. On the show with me this evening, Ife Gardine, who is a founder of the Black Arts Collective. So, with all the things that you've just said, what is it? Are you trying to bring something different to the area? I mean, we all know about collectives, right? Yeah. But in doing something for Black and brown people, what do you hope that's different besides, okay, I got a bunch of Black and brown people doing art?
Okay. And within the arts also, Jonathan, I meant to say Jonathan Berryman. Jonathan Berryman is also,
hello, Jonathan,
who is a musician extraordinaire.
Yes, he is.
He is also part of the core group.
Okay,
if you will.
Okay,
with me to start this, because he came to me. He's like, "Oh, when we gonna get together?" And he's a musician, and that's
he
the
is
other
a musician. Yes,
I want people to understand that when I say the Arts Collective is encompassing everything that is visual, sound, performance, everything. I've worked in all of it. So, and one of my, I'll give you one of my inspirations from way back. Okay, in the 80s, when I was in my 20s, before I had my daughter, I lived in New York for 9 years, right? 79 or 80 to like 89, 80, 88 and then. So I lived in Brooklyn. There was like a Black arts movement. Like, so Leroy Campbell, who is now world renowned, a designer named Mahmoud, and a bunch of musicians and a whole bunch of people. They would just always get together, like, and everybody worked a different job. Like Leroy was an LPN, but he was an artist. So whenever there was a festival or something, he was packing up. He was painting out shower curtains, clear shower curtains. Wow! And selling them at the show, at Jazzmobile or wherever. His job was paying for him to get a space. What do you call it? A table? Because some things you like the African Arts Festival, 4th of July, because New York got all these street festivals going on. So he would do that. But these artists, this group of artists, and it was about 20 or 30 of them, they would say, okay, put their money together collectively, rent a space, a empty warehouse, a building, because at that time gentrification wasn't happening, and there was a whole bunch of empty spaces in Harlem and Brooklyn, right? So they rent the space, start and print out flyers, because there wasn't no social media in the 80s either. Right. and everybody would go to different, like they would go to clubs, parks, everywhere. Right.
And distribute
at the subway, flyers. And they distribute flyers. We having a show, come see our show. Mashoud would have clothes ready. People would be the artists would be modeling his stuff. They would be selling their stuff. That's what I mean by, like, I want to get that vibe back. They say every 30, 50 years. Yeah. I want to get that vibe here in New Haven, especially since I've been back and seen how much talent is here. Like how much talent is here. And I see frustration with a lot of young people that are putting things together because the larger arts organizations that be just don't feel welcoming to them.
Yeah.
Now the Arts Council is free to join. And everybody doesn't know that. But then if they do know it or if they found out about it, they might not trust that.
Right.
There's resources there that you can utilize, that the Arts Council's mission is to utilize and develop the arts in the greater New Haven area.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do that.
Let's develop it.
Let's develop that. And some people are okay with going to places like Art Space or the galleries in Westville or wherever.
Right. But a lot of people are not.
But a lot of people are not. They don't feel welcome there. And then they don't feel like it's in their neighborhood.
Right.
So we're going to find some spaces in our neighborhood, in our spaces, and we're going to showcase.
Mm-hmm.
Churches, wherever.
Yeah.
Whoever will open their doors. And I also want as a part of the collective is artist development, to understand that art is a business. And I will call on some of my friends from New York and beyond to come in and do a session, a workshop or whatever, just to encourage people that you got to bloom where you are.
Yeah.
You could launch from here.
Right.
Who knows? But we got to be appreciated. And we also have to develop an appreciation for the arts within our community. We have a lot of well-off, mature people. I don't say that old word,
Yes, of course.
I don't say that word. But we have a lot of mature people who have homes, who have different things. Like, okay, for instance, this weekend I had the salon at my house.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
We had 30 people.
We had 30 people at the house. Well, you had. I'm not going to say we, but
with our literary happy hour, midnight noir.
Mm-hmm.
The poetry was lovely. The vibe was lovely. And
food was good.
The food was good. People sang.
Food is an art.
Food is an art. So, and if other people were open to opening up their yards or their homes to not a whole crowd of people, but to a select few.
Enough. Yeah.
And then buy the art. Buy it. Support the artist in some way. But even if you open up your home to have a salon or this or that, or a space that you have.
Right.
I wouldn't, if some people.
But why do you think that Black and brown artists in New Haven are not getting full recognition? Is it color? Is there, because
I don't think
most people, I
don't think it's color.
Is there a so-called snootiness associated with art?
We are in a segregated space. Connecticut is segregated. Just let's not even, like Michelle, we can't even, everybody isn't ready to diversify. Okay? They're just not ready. When you go to the performance spaces here, they have a sprinkling of people, maybe, that work there. But not in any. Schubert may have black people cleaning it, but they ain't got no black people in the box office or in administration.
A lot of spaces don't look like people of color.
No, they don't.
And that goes back to folks being comfortable.
And even, and I'm not like putting them down. I go, I don't have no problem going to Schubert. Or like in Long Wharf is working on it. They got to clean up their mess from the dude they had.
The scandal, yeah.
But what I want to say, though, when I worked at Long Wharf, because I was the only one, there's a whole lot of times I've been the only one. And a lot of people know, like, the only one gets frustrating sometimes. And that's the other reason why developing this.
Yeah.
But, like, the major arts organizations in this town do not look within this town until they got to do something in the town. Or, we got this grant, so we got to do something in the community. So let's give them something. No, give us something.
All the time.
Like, give us a job.
Yeah, all the time.
Or let us show that we can do A, B, C, or D. The people that run it, the hierarchy, like, or be real about it. Like, if you really are not interested in that and you really want the people from Madison and Guilford to come into your stuff, just say that.
Yeah.
It's okay. Because
Yeah.
we can just do our own thing and don't do us no favors. But
right.
And then within our own community, like, stop pimping the artists.
Yeah.
Like, if you know
asking
somebody,
people to do stuff
if you know
free all
somebody
the time.
dances, then say, yes, I want you to come in and perform at our thing, and you and somebody else, but we'll give you $25 for 15 something.
Mhm.
It's work. Like, they
Mhm.
don't think of it as work.
Yeah, they don't respect
They think
it as
of it
work.
as a favor.
They don't
if
respect
somebody's-
it as work because it's art, and they
Or-
don't see art
Or if they're
as
a musician.
legitimate work.
If you're
Correct.
having $100 a plate dinner and you invite a choir to sing, you got to feed the daggone choir. So you might not give them the whole $100 plate and have a table for them,
Mhm.
but set something aside for them somewhere off in a room and have something for them while you having your 5 hours of speeches.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Or have them go
Everybody-
first and go home.
Or have them come on first and go home, but still go to Costco and get a tray of something through the
Mhm.
tay. Come on
Mhm.
now. And compensate them in advance. Like, put it in your budget. How about that? When you're planning your program, put it in your budget. Yes, everybody can't afford to pay the artist all the time. Okay.
Right.
Got it. Understood. Then plan something else or scale back. Or figure out how else you can compensate that person. A gift, if you're going to have a trio,
Mhm.
something like that, pass a
pass a hat,
hat
so to
around.
speak. Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Something. Value what you want, what is right before you. You know?
But I think
So
that goes
it's
back
a cultivation on both sides, Michelle.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to people looking at art as not necessarily easy, but not like it's work.
Yeah. And it's like with anything else. You get out of it what you put into it.
Well, there's a
And
lot
they
of
don't
time
know-
put into it.
And they don't know how people be on their grind,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then still find time to make or create something, but put it aside because they don't think it's valued enough.
Right. Right. Right.
Like, how dare you to think that? You know, where you'll go to Nordstrom's or Macy's and spend
Mm-hmm.
think of like, oh, let me go spend $300 or $400. I got this event coming up and I gotta spend $300 or $400 on this gown, instead of going to Donald Carter
Mm-hmm.
and getting fitted and taking him to the material place
Right.
and saying, baby, create something for me,
Right.
and paying for the materials
And his
and
time.
paying him for his time. He's an artist.
Yep. And he does beautiful,
beautiful
work. Oh my
You know,
goodness.
But and he's at co-op cultivating his art with young people.
With young people.
These young people, I mean, I went to the fashion show, the end of the year fashion show in June that the students gave, Donald students gave. And these girls are creative.
Well, it's just like
And
what
they
he did
should
on the
be-
green
And when
for Arts and Ideas.
when he did Arts and Ideas on the Green, and what he did for the Freddie Fixer,
Absolutely.
it needs to be valued. It need, like, these young ladies. I looked at, like, when I was at the fashion show, I was looking. I said, I hope they are encouraged
Mm-hmm.
to keep it going. I hope they're encouraged by their families and they get paid. Like, I know you be auntie or whatever,
But
but if your niece or somebody is making something, you
pay
know,
him for it.
say, okay, you buying the material and you paying her for her time,
Right.
because it takes time. It's hourly wage, like everything else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of these artists like Cottrell Storm does phenomenal.
Yeah, he does amazing work.
Phenomenal,
Amazing
What do you
work.
call that? Bust or
Right.
you know, portraits.
Yep.
The portraiture. Somebody needs to commission him to get their picture in their house.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they like. You ain't even got to sit for him. You just take a picture and give it to him.
Yep.
Find a picture. You need to commission it. We have to value what we do. If you have a child that is a musician, like look at Christian Sands.
Correct.
That boy's all over the world. He went to co-op with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's all over the world. When you cultivate what you have, you never know.
Right.
You know, let's so.
But I think that goes back to, again, when you start to talk about work, right? And you see your child has this particular talent, and you have to decide right off the cuff whether you're going to support that talent or tell that child, okay, you do this on the side, but you got to work.
Well, when somebody's son or daughter plays a sport, they all in the sport.
Right.
They
That's
all
true.
in.
That's true.
In the basketball games. They all in the football games. Oh, you go on soccer or this or that. Oh, you're going to get a scholarship. Well, guess what? Right here in our own backyard, if you get into Yale Music School,
right,
you go for FREE, baby.
Yeah.
My daughter went to Syracuse Architecture School for Black and brown students. Any Spanish, Hispanic, and Black kids from the United States go for free if you get in the School of Architecture, which is drawing. Hello.
Yeah.
Cultivate. And there are many schools across the country that are following suit. They have things for different programs. Oh yeah. No, you just pay for some piano lessons or some violin lessons for your child to have something to do, but you don't think about how that can be. But yet and still, you pay for all the jazz concerts,
right?
Southern.
Right. At Southern, you pay for the series, right?
Or you pay to go to Broadway to see a show.
Production, even here.
And they have a whole orchestra. The
right.
people in the orchestra at the shows on Broadway, guess what? They get paid.
They get
the people
good money.
That show up at the Broadway show every day to put the lights on to make sure
right.
that whoever's stepping where, they get paid.
So are you going to branch out in that direction? Are you going
eventually I want to cultivate the art, and that goes for theater too.
Yeah, and teaching folks the jobs that help a theater run. That is correct.
That's why I said I want to teach the business. I want to be. It's going to be. That's what the part of the mission of the collective is going to be: artist development in every realm of it. In every realm of it, there are. Like even for theater, you may not be an actor or whatever, but you can be a dramaturg. A dramaturg is somebody that reads the plays and breaks down the time period, what the nuances of it, what people like the time period, what people should look like help the writer format that. And they are an important part of the production.
I would be interested in doing that as a side gig.
People don't know about being a dramaturg.
They
got a certificate program at Yale Drama School for that.
Really?
Yes, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. See, it's stuff that people don't know.
Right.
So I want the visual artists of every kind. If you breaking glass and gluing it together and making an elephant, I don't care. Okay? We want to get all the artists and I don't want to say register, but I want people to write down what they do. Because sometimes some people are musicians and they may play an instrument, but they may also sing. You know, it's a realm of things. If you knitting booties and different things, outfits for people,
right?
You're an artist. Don't undersell yourself.
Well, let me ask, how do the books fall into this? Because you want to do something.
Oh, so anyway,
in the realm
well, I'm
of
gonna start
a book festival, correct?
Exactly. So again, even before I lived in New York, I used to go to New York a lot. But I used to go to Harlem Book Fair. I was going to Harlem. I can't say I used to because I still will. And But the Brooklyn Book Festival, Harlem Book Festival, Queens Book Festival, Bronx Book Festival, everybody had a book festival. And then I started looking at book festivals all around the country and all that stuff, and we don't have a book festival. So I want to, and I met with Diane at Stetson, where I'd like to, meet with New Haven Public Library, work with them, and do this book festival next summer, probably behind the Stetson. We don't know yet, but that's to come. That's more to come. I will also be doing, because as a writer, I've written some things and I put it down. I haven't, because
picked
of things happening in my life and work and stuff and situations. I've got stories that I have yet to tell. I have a play that I haven't finished. And I also have a couple of a novel and a couple of short stories. So I want to finish working on them. I attended a lot of writers' workshops in New York as well. I also did a training to facilitate a writers' workshop. So I'm starting writers' workshops also at the Stetson on the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of the month, starting in September.
And why are you doing that?
Because I want to develop a community of writers that we have stories to tell. And there's a lot of storytelling going on, like Karen and her husband have storytelling. There's different places that have storytelling. Storytelling is important, but some people don't want to share it with the world and they want to write it down. Or they just have some, like my cousin Kibra had a coworker that said he had an idea for a comic series that he wanted to do a animation film on. So she said, well, call my cousin up because I know. So it's like, okay, I want that brother to come on in.
Yeah.
Like he has this idea and he knows how he wants it but let's take it to the next level.
Stage.
Because he wants to stop working all these shifts.
Right.
And because when he's not working his shifts, he's doing this thing, and we could connect them with somebody that's a filmmaker. Because I want everybody that is anything arts related. Yeah. Let's make our own films. Let's do our own plays. Let's do our own musical performances. All that. I want to planning to showcase everybody that is in this collective, and that is willing to come on board with us to have a showcase around the holidays. Right? And let everybody see all the plethora of everything that we have.
Yeah, the arts, the true arts and artists.
Right. And have real representation, because like I said, we want to have a consistency of periodic events that are all encompassing of all that is there. We want to have an exhibit that is just Black and brown artists, and that always is just Black and brown artists, not sprinkled in, not devaluing anybody else's stuff.
Right.
Not saying that don't go to, if you get an opportunity to show in Art Space or out in Westville or wherever else somebody got a gallery. I'm not saying don't do it. Right. I'm just saying there will be a space and time that we can all see each other consistently, and just us. So, not when we're just given that time or space. So
are you all meeting? What have your collective minds thought about to bring this together?
Everybody will find out when they get there.
But no, I mean, where are you meeting?
Oh, we're going to meet at the Stetson on September 19th from 6 to 9. And that's an intro session. It's an intro where I want to have everybody start, have everybody that feels that they are an artist, that they want to be part of the collective, to come together. Because some people are artists. Some people teach art. I mean, may develop into programming and all that kind of stuff. Because I don't know if they still have creative arts in New Haven. They done laid off 28 people or whatever ridiculous amount of people. So they probably ain't got no arts program no more. So there's things there's some supplemental things, some work down the line. But for now, to begin this, it is to cultivate and to acknowledge your art, to cultivate your creativity, and to have a support system.
And when you say
create a community with artists.
When you say cultivate your creativity, you're saying to folks,
you could be around other artists, because some artists are by themselves around a whole bunch of people that work a shift, Michelle.
Yeah. And
okay?
and
if you write and then you around people that don't read, they don't read a book.
Right.
Or they don't know what writer inspired you to write, then don't mess with them. Like, why are you going to show them what you're reading anyway? Because they ain't going to know, because they don't read. Right? There's a few book clubs around New Haven, so maybe
there are
know, you could do a reading for one of the book clubs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Have a reading at the library.
But this is not necessarily meant for folks who are professional. This is meant for also the person who is like, I sit at home and I draw.
Exactly.
Right? This is
the person who has a whole bunch of work of whatever. Like I said, if you making little angels over at the house, or when around the holidays, that's the only time you make something, because you got life happening.
Yeah,
you're creating. Because the other part of it too is my goal is to find spaces, and God willing, my goal is to have a space where there is studio space for artists.
Yeah. And when I say that, I mean it's for the person. I hate to use the word amateur, and I guess that's
not
I'm trying
amateur,
to replace.
It's people sitting on their stuff.
Yeah.
Like that you sleeping on it.
Or you just you do it at home and you don't necessarily show it to anybody, but it's part of you. It's part of your personality.
It's what feeds you. It's what secretly you do. Come out with it. Be expressive with it. And acknowledge your that's acknowledging your creativity. If you're ready to acknowledge your creativity, and it ain't got to be all big and bold. You could take baby steps, but at least you will be there will be a monthly meeting for the collective in a supportive space.
So if somebody wants to join you all, how do they get in touch with you? Do you want them to hit you up on Facebook?
They can messenger me on Facebook. They can messenger me, because I am going to have some information in the next week or so. Okay. I'm going to put out some information on how to on the September 19th from 6 to 8 at the Stetson.
At Stetson.
It's a Wednesday. I hope that's the 19th year.
I'll look.
And it should be Wednesday, September 19th,
I'm looking now.
At the Stetson from 6 to 8 will be the first meeting, and then
it is a Wednesday.
And then from the first meeting, I want people to we want to come together, and I want to sort of catalog or the art form. Like it's going to be pretty much people putting they're going to fill out like an artist statement.
Okay.
That's your first declaration. You're going to fill out an artist statement and say, I am this and I do this. Claim it. I want people to claim
their artistry.
Claim your artistry, cultivate your artistry, and just own it. Just be in it, and let's create a atmosphere, create a community for the artists.
So if there's anything you want folks to know, not that you haven't pretty much expressed yourself fully over the past 48 minutes, but what is it that you want the non-art or let's say people who might say, okay, yeah, I see this photograph, but I ain't really into art, or I got somebody who draws in my family, but or I got somebody that takes pictures, but I ain't buying them a camera. Right.
Buy them
How do you
a real camera or an extension for their iPhone or something. So they could be like going out the edge of the park and taking pictures.
But how do you draw them in, and how do you get them? And I know that basically that's not the crowd you're looking for, but you want people to be able to support. You want to create a community of supporters.
And you're right. And the cultivation has to happen on both sides. So, once we have the collective, once we have built the collective, I feel like as we're building the collective, then when we have our showcases, when we have our expos, when we have performances and things where people will come, they will have the appreciation for it. And like I said, I'm going to have my artist friends come in and say, and how they evolve, because everybody evolved from something,
right? And everybody's journey, as we all know, is not the same.
Everybody's journey is not the same. So I want writers of all kinds, of all genres. I don't care if you write space stories or poetry, whatever it is, all kinds of musicians, singers, performance artists. If you a clown, if you want to be a clown, like, we're going to find the resources for you
to perform,
to do what you do. What do you have it in your heart to do? Even people that, I always wanted to do this, but I want to get it, kind of develop it. You can do an artist statement as well. This is my name, and I am, my goal is to be, because there's steps to how you can do it.
Yeah.
Everybody, like Leroy Campbell is self-taught, and one of his hands, which nobody notices until they are like right up on him and they, oh snap. But one of his hands is cleft.
Wow.
He has a cleft hand.
And I've met him. I've met him more than once.
Right.
With you.
Yeah.
I've never noticed that.
And his work is phenomenal.
His work is awesome.
His work is awesome. And he's self-taught. He can go to art school. He graduated from high school. He moved to New York.
Wow. And that shows you everybody's journey is different, right?
He did the LPN. He went to that little something LPN thing. And
got his certification, and that's how he survived while selling his work.
Way to it. I mean, and you have to have that in you. So I hope to spark the fire in people and inspire in some kind of way.
All right. So tell us again when you all plan on meeting.
The Phoenix Diaspora Arts Collective will meet Wednesday, September 19th at 6 p.m. at the Stetson Library.
And that is on Dixwell Avenue in New Haven.
Avenue. I don't know the exact address. You could Google Stetson Library. Yes. New Haven Public Library ain't got 6 branches.
Right. Right.
Stetson is one of them. Stetson is the Schomburg of New Haven.
I know Diane Brown would be pleased to hear that.
And also, in preparation for the new Stetson and the new Q House to
that
come
is
up.
True, yes.
Like, we're going to need to be represented well in our neighborhood.
That's
we
true.
We can't complain about gentrification and other people taking over nothing, and we're not there.
That's true.
So we want this collective. We want to be prepared. There's going to be that space that will be the Q House and that will be the Stetson will have space for all that is going to happen. So let's, and even if you work in a way, like if you have a skill that can help us, like if you know how to do sound, DJ and whatever, because we got y'all and we got my cousin Daryl that going to be DJing. He don't know it yet. He knows it now.
Hey, Daryl.
But like I said, we're utilizing all our resources collectively to come together. People, let's do this.
All right. Thank you so much, Ife Michelle Gardine. Appreciate you being here and expressing a new idea. And hopefully a new idea that will come to pass very quickly and be very successful for you.
Oh, and I want to make sure my writers know that we are starting the Phoenix Diaspora Writers Collective, because not the writers will also be a part of the writers group rather. The writers will also be a part of the collective, but the writers group is so that we can write, because everybody that writes always ain't got the space and time to write. So we're gonna make space and time to write on the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of the month. We will be writing.
Yep.
We're gonna have
that's great.
From 6 to 8. We're gonna get our juices flowing.
All right. You're listening to the show on WNHHLP 103.5 FM. We are broadcasting live in downtown New Haven, and we stream on TuneIn Radio and the NewHavenIndependent.org. We also stream live video on Facebook Live, which you have the good fortune of watching now. Just go to facebook.com, New Haven Independent, or go to your own Facebook page and look us up. This has been the show. My name is Michelle Turner. We wish nothing but success for the Black Arts Collective in books. And remember, you never know who's going to be on the show. See you next week. We're going to talk about Aretha Franklin and James Brown.
Yeah.
Harry, I'm finished. Yay. We're done.
We are.
Yeah. Mic's off.